Hi there, it's Cassie from Worshipful Reading. It is a chilly, cloudy fall day, so I thought it would be a perfect day to do a October mini reading wrap up and November TBR. First, so I just wanted to say thank you already to the Christian BookTube community. It really is the best. For all of your comments and recommendations and support and for subscribing and all the things, all the love and encouragement as I start this channel. I literally just, threw out a video on to YouTube last week just for something fun because of my love of books, but out of, some frustration in the things that I was reading and just to share some things I felt like God was putting on my heart, and wow, so thank you. It makes me even more excited to kind of get out of my reading slump and read and share all the things with you. So thank you. So I'm going to do kind of a mini reading wrap up and then share what I'm hoping to read in November. So let's dive in first with The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This was part of a book competition that a group of friends and I do twice a year. It's called Battle of the Books for adults, and this was definitely kind of the worst list of books we all felt. There's normally about 5 books, and I normally end up maybe just reading 1 or 2 of them just because of my personal convictions when it comes to content, but this one was this list was the worst. The Vampires of El Norte, which I talked about last video, is part of that list, and then this one, which as you can maybe see by my bookmark, I DNF'd. I pretty much knew at 30 pages in that I didn't really want to read it, but I gave it to 50 pages. It is a clunker. It's close to 500 pages. There wasn't really anything necessarily explicit or that was a big red flag, but already kind of 30 to 50 pages in, there's a lot about teenage partying, just kind of longing, the bare-chested type of longing and things like that. And I just was I'm not really feeling it. And my friends that did read it, they pretty much had to kind of force themselves to barrel through. They said it's supposed to be a thriller. I probably should have given a recap what it's about. So it's about a girl at a summer camp who goes missing. And then it's told from multiple different points of view and takes place in the 1970s. And so I had several friends in my group that does these competitions that did read it, and they said kind of the thriller mystery aspect wasn't that great. They didn't love how it ended, the ending. They're meh. I feel like it was really long and tedious, and one of my friends described it as just a bunch of bad things happen to sad people. And I was okay, then if I'm already not so much loving some of the content, again, might be totally fine for you. And if I knew that it was going to be really gripping and moving and perspective shifting in some way, I might have stuck with it. But knowing that my friends were all meh, and that it was going to be just really sad and not that great, I was nah, I think I'm gonna DNF it. So yeah, that's done. But hey, if you read it and you got to the end and you loved it and had a different perspective, we'll love to hear that too. Okay, let's talk about The Fellowship of the Ring. I talked about this in my previous video. This isn't even correct. I'm even closer than that because I've been both reading and listening to the audiobook by Andy Serkis, which is amazing. I am loving the last 100 pages that I have had. this book and I have been on a journey together, fittingly. So in case you don't know, The Fellowship of the Ring, it is about, it's fantasy, so it's about a made-up place called Middle Earth, and there's kind of this dark lord, this dark power that's kind of taking over, and it's centralized in these rings of power that these different people groups have. And this little hobbit, Frodo, he has kind of the one ring to rule them all. So everyone is trying to get this ring from the dark forces so then they can, fully turn this world over to darkness of Middle Earth. So Frodo and this whole kind of company sets out on this journey to destroy the ring. If you have kind of been around, you're probably familiar with that story and probably are familiar with The Lord of the Rings. I had always dragged my feet when it came to things like Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, because I felt like, everyone just always talks about these on, in Christian circles. But I get it now, eating some humble pie, because especially the last 100 pages, I am just loving it. And this has kind of been a learning for me, not just in having some humility and listening to the suggestions of others, but also I tend to have a million books going at one time. And I wanted to get this finished. And so really the last week I've only been focused on this, and I've been able to go kind of so much deeper and richer. So that's kind of one of my, I think, probably goals that I'll have for 2026 with reading, is to not be so scattered in my attention to so many different books, but to really kind of dig deep into the books that I'm reading. But I wanted to share just a couple of passages that really stood out to me and that I felt had some really kind of rich biblical kind of undertones. One of them being, this is kind of towards the end, and the company, they're in this beautiful place called Lothlorien, which is where these elves live. And it gave me the descriptions just gave me such like an image of maybe Eden or the new heaven and the new earth, right? Everything is beautiful. There's a line that says it's unstained, which I thought was a beautiful way to describe it. There's all this imagery that these group of weary travelers, right, they can lay down their burdens. They feel lighter, younger. There's kind of no even sense of evil or, sorrow, right? So we're kind of getting all this biblical imagery, but there's this section that says, happy folk are hobbits to dwell near the shores of the sea, said Haldir. It is long indeed since any of my folk have looked on it, yet still we remember it in song. Tell me of these havens as we walk. I cannot, said Mary. I have never seen them. I have never been out of my own land before. And if I had known what the world outside was like, I don't think I should have had the heart to leave it. Not even to see fair Lothlorien, said Haldir. The world is indeed full of peril, and in it there are many dark places. But still there is much that is fair. And though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater. I loved that last part. But still there is much that is fair. And though in all lands love is now mingled with grief, it grows perhaps the greater. Oh, I love that, right? Because that's what we're living in now, right? Where we long for that, unstained, new heaven and earth that is to come, where we can lay down our burdens, where there is no, trial or sickness or pain, where God will wipe the tears from our eyes. But we're currently living in a world where love is now mingled with grief. But Haldir says, perhaps the fairness, the beauty, the love, grows even greater because of it, right? Like we can almost, if we think of it kind of biblically, right? Like we can treasure, God's love and grace and mercy and, the beauty we see outside on a fall day, because we have walked through, pain and suffering and sin and all the things. So, Oh, I love that. And I feel like in these last 100 pages, I'm kind of mining more of those depths and see maybe why there's so much hype around the Lord of the Rings. So I'm glad I'm finally getting to read it. I'll probably finish it today or tomorrow. I thought I would be one and done with the trilogy and not move on to the next book, which I believe is The Two Towers. But I think I definitely will. I might take a little break since it took me so long. I think I started this in like August. It took me so long to get through this. But yeah, definitely will continue. On that note too, I also wanted to, if you're someone like me that was like, I'm not into fantasy, or, why is everyone hype up the Lord of the Rings? A book that really cracked open the door for me to be interested or like be open to it. And you probably can't even, really see this at all, but it's called The Myth Makers by John Hendricks, and it's a graphic novel, like so beautifully and whimsically illustrated. And I'm not normally like a huge graphic novel person either, but I came across it. I got it on my Kobo, like through Overdrive, through Libby, before I started reading The Fellowship of the Ring. And it's all about J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis's background, their lives, the friendship they had with each other, their kind of faith and struggles and reason for kind of writing the landmark works that they did. So I love that. Even if I never would have actually read The Fellowship of the Ring, reading The Myth Makers just really helped me to understand and see kind of that part of literature that so often we talk about in Christian circles. And it was just a beautiful story and beautifully illustrated. But yeah, I love that, and I highly recommend that too. So that's kind of my wrap up where I am now with reading, kind of my TBR. Sorry, that was a long talk about the Fellowship of the Ring, but I'm actually enjoying it now, so yay. My TBR for November, I came across, I love Libby. If you're not familiar with it, it's like an app that you can download books and audiobooks from the library. But I came across this, which I think you can see, Murder Before Evensong by the Reverend Richard Coles. I have no idea really what this is going to be like. Let me kind of read the little description of it to you. I was just literally kind of looking for like a cozy, lighthearted mystery. Definitely am into that when it's kind of fall and colder out. And this is what the description of it says. It says, Canon Daniel Clement is rector of Champton. He has been there for 8 years, living at the rectory alongside his widowed mother, opinionated, fearless, ever so slightly annoying Audrey, and his 2 dachshunds, Cosmo and Hilda. Like, sign me up right there. It sounds delightful. When Daniel announces a plan to install a lavatory in the church, the parish is suddenly and unexpectedly divided. As lines are drawn, long-buried secrets come dangerously close to destroying the apparent calm of the village. And then Anthony Brown, as cousin to Bernard de Flores, patron of Champton, is found dead at the back of the church, stabbed in the neck with a pair of pruning shears. As the police moves in and the bodies start piling up, Daniel is the only one who can try and keep his fractured community together and catch a killer. A delightful, cozy murder mystery with a sharp edge from the best-selling author. Okay, I guess he's a best-selling author. I've never really heard of him or any of his work, but I will let you know. I'm guessing it's, clean and everything, but it just sounds so funny. And all the things, checks all the boxes for me, right? We have like a little cozy village. We have a pastor. We have maybe like some rude older ladies. We have dogs. Like they're fighting over installing a bathroom in the church. Like, what? This just sounds so kind of lighthearted and delightful. And I just feel like that's what I'm in the mood for. And I feel like that's something too that I am trying to honor and recognize, like where kind of like my heart, my mind, my body are at. I feel like this has been a super busy season for me. I'm tired. And I just need things that are maybe a little bit more lighthearted with some humor. I'm not really in a space to like tackle maybe super intense or deep or darker things right now. So I'm excited for that. I'll let you know how it goes. And then also on my November TBR, I don't have a copy of it, but been in the mood for like a good historical fiction, and The Women of Oak Ridge. So I'm hoping to tackle in November. That's kind of been everywhere. Over Christian BookTube, book lover Amanda did a video on it, and if you just saw her most recent video, she got to meet the author, Michelle Shockley. If you have not seen that video, it is so good. If I can, I'll try and link it down below. I'm still like learning all the things. But such a cool video seeing her support local authors. I think the book is set in her hometown. But yeah, that was such an encouraging video just about supporting local authors and Christian BookTube. And yeah, beautiful video. Bring the tissues. You'll probably need them. But I'll link that below. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to get that. I have it on hold, a physical copy from the library, because I couldn't get it through Libby on my Kobo. And normally you kind of see, I do normally have like a mix of e-reader and physical. It's kind of my backup if I'm not able to get that in the next couple of weeks, is The Lines Between Us by Amy Lynn Green. And this is a World War II novel, which was interesting to me, right? Like World War II novels are kind of everywhere, and sometimes they can be a bit much with historical fiction. But I think there's so many, because there's so many different aspects of it I didn't know. Like the Woman of Oak Ridge is about, I think like a plant that women worked at, like to create the atomic bomb. I think, like, I don't know anything about that. This one is World War II, but it is about conscientious objectors, which I don't really know a lot about, and how conscientious objectors in World War II were sent to act as firefighters in different parts of the United States. So this one sounds really interesting. It is about relationship between a brother and a sister, and how the sister, she kind of takes a more active role in the war. She joins the Women's Army Corps, but her brother is a pacifist. He becomes kind of this firefighter, kind of how they're dealing with some tension in their relationship. But I'm super interested, because I always love books that teach me new perspectives and things about history or life, and things that I didn't even know I didn't know. So this will kind of be a backup to The Women of Oak Ridge, or maybe if I fly through that, then I will tackle this too. So that's kind of where I've been, where I'm heading with books. I have kind of a smaller TBR for November, because by the time I get halfway through November, then I'm thinking about like Advent reads and Christmas reads and holidays and all of this stuff, which that will probably be my next kind of large video, is all of my Advent resources and recommendations and Christmas things I want to read and all of that stuff. So thanks for sticking with me in this video. Oh, I did forget to say, with Amy Lynn Green, I read Things We Didn't Say by her, and I loved it. It was a 5-star read for me, which I don't actually have a Goodreads. I just like keep track on paper of how I give things stars, or I like star them in my head. I have like a, kind of a reading journal, but I don't know, maybe I'll hop on the Goodreads wagon. We'll see. But Things We Didn't Say by Amy Lynn Green, so good. It was told in letters, and it was about Japanese Americans during the war, And it's been a while since I read it, so I'm a little foggy on the details. But it was like a different side of it. I didn't know how some Japanese Americans were like set up to be language teachers and then almost work as kind of like spies in different areas, or like during World War II. I think I'm pretty much butchering that, but look it up. It was a 5-star read. I loved it, and I loved it was told in like letters and different files. There was kind of like a case going on. But yeah, I really enjoy too. I love books that are kind of unique or like epistolary, or maybe have kind of a unique format to them. So I would love your recommendations if you have any kind of books that are told in a unique way too. So that's that. Oh, I feel bad that I butchered that description of things we didn't say, but hey, let that be an impetus to go research what I was saying. After I do this video, I'm gonna research that too, because that's important history. I remember it being really important history that I had never learned. So go read the book and check it out. So thank you for sticking with me on this rambly fall wrap-up TBR video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy reading!